The observation post drifted in the dark, between stars, a small speck of metal and silence. For 300 cycles, the Krylith Dominion had used this post to watch the outer rim of the galaxy. They noted novas, recorded rogue planets, and marked the rise and fall of lesser species. Nothing ever threatened the Dominion. Nothing ever could. That was what Commander Vex nor believed until the messenger arrived. The messenger came not in a warship, but in a pod no larger than a burial casket. It tumbled out of a gravity fold and clanged against the observation post's hull. When Krylith soldiers dragged it inside, they found a single being inside a frail, four-limbed creature with pale skin and wide eyes. It wore no armor. It carried no weapon. It only held a data crystal in one trembling hand. The creature called itself a Xylosian. It begged for water, which the Krylith gave out of curiosity, not kindness. After it drank, it looked up at Commander Vex Nor and spoke words that would change the Dominion forever. "You must stay away from the humans," it said. "I have seen what they do. I have escaped to warn you. Please, listen before it is too late." Commander Vex Nor had heard of humans. Every empire in this spiral arm had heard whispers. They came from a medium planet around a medium star. They had no natural claws, no poison, no wings, no telepathy. They could not survive in vacuum. They could not see in the dark. By all measures, they should have been prey. But the whisper said otherwise. The whisper said the humans had done the impossible. They had broken every rule of war and survival. Vexx Nor leaned forward, his carapace clicking with impatience. "Explain quickly, or I will have you thrown back into the void." The Xylosian nodded. Its name was Pren, and it told its story in a low, shaking voice. Pren had been a data scrivener for the Vorkith Unity, a vast empire of reptilian beings that controlled 12 star systems. The Unity was old and powerful. It had conquered or absorbed a dozen smaller species. Its battle fleets numbered in the thousands. Its soldiers knew no fear. For 1,000 years, the Unity had grown fat on the labor of lesser worlds. Then the humans arrived, not as conquerors, not as invaders. The humans came as traders. They landed on a small Vorkith colony world called Draken IV with permission to exchange food and medicine for rare minerals. The Vorkith governor allowed it because the humans seemed harmless. They were soft, pink, and slow. They smiled too much. They asked too many questions. They were barely worth noticing, but the humans noticed everything. For 3 standard years, they lived on Draken IV. They learned the Vorkith language. They studied Vorkith law, Vorkith history, Vorkith military doctrine. They never asked directly. They simply listened and remembered. They befriended low-level clerks, bored soldiers, and overworked supply officers. They gave gifts. They told jokes. They became invisible. Pren had been assigned to monitor alien communications. He saw the human messages. They were boring shopping lists, weather reports, complaints about local food. He dismissed them as meaningless. He was wrong. The humans had been mapping every weakness, every supply route, every blind spot in Vorkith sensor networks, every political rivalry between Vorkith admirals, every secret the Vorkith had ever let slip to a smiling human trader. When the humans finally left Draken 4, they did not leave quietly. They transmitted one message to the Vorkith Unity before folding away. The message was short and polite. It said, "Thank you for your hospitality. We will remember it." The Vorkith thought nothing of it. They went back to their conquests. 3 months later, the human fleet arrived. It was not a large fleet. Only 40 ships. The Vorkith laughed when they saw the numbers. They sent 300 warships to crush the human intruders. It should have been over in an hour. The battle lasted 6 hours. Every single Vorkith ship was destroyed. The human fleet lost 2 ships. Pren watched the battle from a data station on the Vorkith homeworld. He saw the humans fight in ways no species had ever fought. They did not line up and exchange fire. They did not follow the old rules of honor or tradition. They did whatever was necessary to win. They jammed Vorkith communications with signals that mimicked Vorkith command codes. They launched missiles that changed direction mid-flight. They used electronic warfare that made Vorkith screens show false images of empty space. They fired kinetic projectiles that moved so fast the Vorkith could not track them, and when a human ship was damaged, it did not retreat. It accelerated toward the enemy and kept firing until it broke apart. The Vorkith admirals had never seen anything like it. They had fought honorable enemies. They had fought predictable enemies. They had never fought an enemy that treated war as a math problem, where the only variable that mattered was mutual destruction. After the battle, the humans did not offer terms. They did not ask for surrender. They sent another message, this time to every Vorkith world simultaneously. The message was simple: leave the Draken system forever. You have 30 days. The Vorkith were proud. They refused. For the next 30 days, the humans did something no one expected. They did not attack. They did not bomb cities. Instead, they destroyed everything that made the Vorkith unity function. They targeted fuel depots. They targeted communication relays. They targeted supply convoys, repair stations, mining outposts, and orbital docks. They never hit civilian populations directly, but they made sure no civilian could eat, work, or communicate. Pren watched food riots break out on the Vorkith homeworld. He watched soldiers desert because their families were starving. He watched the Vorkith economy collapse in 3 weeks. On the 29th day, the Vorkith unity surrendered. They abandoned Draken 4 and 3 other systems. They begged for peace. The humans gave them peace. But they also took everything. All Vorkith military assets were dismantled. All Vorkith warp drives were confiscated. The Vorkith were confined to their home system, with no ability to leave. They had gone from a mighty empire to a prison planet in less than 2 months. Pren escaped during the chaos. He stole a small ship and fled. He traveled for months, jumping from system to system, until he found the Krylith Dominion observation post. He came to warn them because he had seen the truth. The humans were not monsters. They were worse. They were patient, methodical, and completely without mercy when provoked. Commander Vex nor listened to all of this in silence. His antennae twitched. His mandibles clicked. He wanted to dismiss the story as the rambling of a frightened creature. But the data crystal in Pren's hand contained battle recordings, communication logs, and damage assessments. Vex Nor had already scanned them. They were real. Why? Vex Nor asked. Why would the humans do this? What did the Vorkith do to them? Pren looked down at his own hands. Nothing. The Vorkith did nothing to the humans. That is the most terrifying part. The humans did not attack because they were wronged. They attacked because they saw a weakness and decided to exploit it. He paused. No, that is not quite right. They attacked because the Vorkith had something the humans wanted. The Vorkith controlled the Draken system, which contained a rare isotope needed for human medical technology. The humans asked to buy it. The Vorkith refused. The humans asked again. The Vorkith mocked them. So the humans simply took it. Vex Nor felt a cold sensation in his blood. They destroyed an entire empire for a medical isotope. They destroyed an empire because it was in their way, Pren said. That is how humans think. They do not see empires or cultures or traditions. They see obstacles and solutions. If an obstacle does not move, they remove it permanently. Vex Nor stood up. He paced the length of the observation room. His mind raced through possibilities. The Krylith Dominion was vast, over 200 systems. Its military was 10 times larger than the Vorkith unity. Surely the humans would not dare to challenge the Dominion, but then he remembered something. The humans had destroyed the Vorkith fleet with 40 ships, 40 against 300. The math did not make sense unless the humans possessed some technology the Vorkith had never seen. What weapons do the humans use? Vex Nor asked. What makes them so powerful? Pren shook his head. It is not their weapons. Their weapons are crude by galactic standards. Their shields are average. Their ships are slower than most. That is not why they win. Then why? Because they do not fight fair. They never have. Every other species in the galaxy follows the ancient rules of war. You declare your intentions. You form a battle line. You exchange fire until one side withdraws. The loser surrenders. The winner takes territory. Everyone goes home. He looked up at Vex Nor with haunted eyes. Humans do not do that. Humans look at the ancient rules and see only weaknesses to exploit. They will hack your computers before they fire a shot. They will poison your food supplies. They will drop asteroids on your cities. They will release plagues engineered to target only your species. They will do anything, absolutely anything, to win. Vex Nor felt his carapace prickle. That is barbaric. No, Pren said softly. It is efficient. That is the human way. They do not hate you. They do not fear you. They simply calculate the fastest path to victory and walk it. If that path goes through 1 million of your civilians, they walk anyway. If that path requires sacrificing their own soldiers, they do that too. They do not value their own lives the way other species do. They value victory above everything.